What's up, everybody? This is your host, D Star, here with.
Shanyeill, McCloud.
And Dante Red.
How you guys doing today?
I'm great.
I'm good.
Absolutely. So, for the people that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Shanyeill McCloud. I'm the owner and founder of the Clean Slate Expungement and Pardon Help Desk. It's a second chance social enterprise for men and women that have made mistakes in their past, paid their debt to society, and now are seeking legal pathways out of poverty. I started Clean Slate in 2012 as an effort to reduce joblessness, homelessness, crime and recidivism here in the state of Wisconsin, mainly in Milwaukee. I'm born and raised in the city of Milwaukee. So what started me into this is, for one, I'm a survivor of domestic violence. The only way I was able to survive was by fighting back. And but fighting back landed me with my first and only conviction. So, I started off as one of those people who was a goody two shoes, in a relationship that ended badly, and I fought back, and I feel like I've been fighting back ever since because, like I said, it landed me with my first and only conviction, which I lost, my job at that time. I was working for Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance. I had been working there fresh out of high school, so corporate America was all I knew, but I couldn't go back, to corporate America, and so, I was found out about expungement of criminal records, and I became obsessed. Some would say possessed, with the concept because I actually went back to school and trying to learn the expungement process. A lot of the law was unfamiliar with, it was hard to read. So I went back to MATC, became a paralegal, and I started interning with the legal actions of the world, and I learned the process A to Z, how to do expungement. And so I started questioning. I'm like, well, why are we, doing expungement for people who live right here in the inner city? Because all of our clientele came from the suburbs. And they was like, well, if you want to help those people, you do it yourself. So boom, I had to start Clean Slate Milwaukee with no prior, business experience, no prior nonprofit experience. So I developed second chance staffing as a school project because I went back to school, Bryan and Stratton, for business. And so in business class, you had to develop a project. And so my project was a temporary agency for felons. And I was like, well, if I'm having a hard time finding a job with a misdemeanor, just imagine what someone with a felony is going through. So I started Second Chance Staffing as a nonprofit in 2014 and started working with the Milwaukee Fatherhood Initiatives and other reentry community organizations as to get the word out, that the possibility to expunge your record exists. After learning the process, I try to help myself. So, it started off being about me, then about my family. I started helping members of my family, get their records expunged. Then started.
Were you successful in
I helped my mother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I helped my mother. My mother had something on her record that was actually dismissed, but it stopped her from going into med school. And I remember my mother trying to go to, med school, medical college, when I was younger, when I was real little, but when I was adult, I seen nothing actualized. So I was like, well, what happened? So when she told me it was her record, which I didn't know, so it was something that happened in 1980. I wasn't even born yet, So that just shows how long things stay on your record and can impact you from opportunities later on. So like I said, I started with my family, was successful with my family, practicing with neighbors and cousins and stuff like that. Then I moved on to the job center. Started helping people in the job centers, get their records, expunged. And really it's kind of hitting brick walls because of how narrow the expungement laws are. Everybody is not qualified. They may be as deserving of as a second chance as they may be. They may not be qualified because of how stringent the Wisconsin expungement laws are. So when I doubled back to get my own record expunged, I learned that I still was not qualified because the laws was not made retroactive. So that's how I began to advocate. So we got into policy, got into start trying to expand the Wisconsin expungement process to, for one, remove the age limit, two, make it retroactive so people from back in the 70s, 80s, 90s also have the opportunity at second chances, and to take away at the time of sentencing. Right now, as it stands, in order to be eligible to have your record expunged, it has to be stipulated at the time of sentencing. You can check off all the other boxes, but if the judge did not stipulate at the time of sentencing, it's not happening. So,
and a lot of people don't know to ask for that when they're, in their pre-sentencing, and when they go and speak to the DA and try to make a deal, and they sign that paperwork, and 9 times out of 10, your lawyer is not going to say, "Hey, you should think about asking for this." So once you're done serving your time and paid your debt to society, that you could be eligible for this.
Correct. And a lot of times you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So if you never even heard of expungement, how you know to ask for it?
And especially if it's your first case, it's like you're new to the process. You have no idea what an expungement is. Yeah.
That's exactly right. So even when I doubled back and I asked the judge, and she was like, "Well, I'm sorry, you didn't say it at the time of sentencing," and she was like, "Well, and let me just backtrack." And she was, even at the time of sentencing, she was like, "I'm gonna make an example out of you."
Oh wow.
Yeah, she, I had never been in trouble before then, never been in trouble since then. But, yeah, so she wanted to make an example out of me and gave me that case. And so I went back to her, and she was like, "Well, you didn't ask for it, so I can't give you the expungement."
Well, even if I did know about it, I would be intimidated to ask her if she just said, "I'm going to make an example out of you." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's extremely intimidating. Especially if you young, that's your first time in the courtroom, and you just surrounded by things. They speak in languages you don't understand. Some people plead out to anything. People take pleas and make deals that
10, 20 years probation.
Yeah,
which is just a trap.
Or
right.
The worst part is when they waive their preliminary. That's one of the worst things you can do, is waive your preliminary, because that's your opportunity to see everything that you're up against. And if you waive it, then that's like admitting guilt.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And so, we know these things now in hindsight, but when we was at that table at that time, it was just all, everything was moving real fast, and you just trying to get out of there.
Right.
I had kids I needed to get back home to, and that's all. My whole goal was just to get back home to my kids. So fast forward to just helping, just grow the company, just doing more advocacy, trying to expand the opportunity for more people. We had some wins, we had some losses, because we still have not been able to expand expungement in the state of Wisconsin. However, in 2019, something historical happened where our current governor, Tony Evers, reestablished the Pardon Advisory Board. And when he established that board and opened it up for people who have, felony convictions, not misdemeanors, but felony convictions, that, you have, in order to be qualified, you have to be off probation or have served your sentence for 5 years. So off probation for 5 years, and you cannot be on the sex offender registry, cannot have any open cases in Wisconsin or any other state. And a lot of people, because of that criteria, that made thousands of people eligible, where they was not eligible for expungement, but they was eligible for a pardon, and the doors open, and we've been off to the races. Was the second that door opened up, we were already prepared to take off running.
So how many people would you say you've helped get pardons and expungements?
Expungements is really hard to narrow down, because like I said, we've been doing it since 2012. So we've been doing, clients where we do the work for them, and then we have clients where we, do it yourself options. So people that go off and do it themselves, periodically they be like, "Oh yeah, I got it done." Sometimes they get it done and don't double back and tell me. So the numbers, it was, before the board opened up, we were somewhere around 2,000, stuff like that. And as far as people that we've been able to serve, and people who've gotten their records expunged, probably 25% of that, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to pardons, I want to say Dante was like number 40 something.
Okay.
But
So he's
so today,
one of the OGs.
yeah. So today, we are, make sure I got my numbers down. So we have 520 applications that we've done, and of those 520, 11 have been denied.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have a really good success rate, but I don't want to promote that this is what we can get this part done for you. I always want to make that disclaimer that our job is to do doc prep. I'm a paralegal. I've been a paralegal for 14 years. We do document preparation, but in addition to document preparation, we do people preparation. We make sure that not only is your documentation is done professionally and accurately, but we want to make sure that we can coach and consult our client to be ready for that hearing, because you will have to go before what they call a pardon advisory board. And that too can be an intimidating situation. So we want to make sure that we coach our clients, we help them develop their why, we vet them. So, we're not just a benefit to the client and the community, but we're a benefit to the Pardon Advisory Board and the governor as well, because we serve as a secondary vetting system. So we're going to vet the clients before the board gets a chance to vet you. So by the time you see the governor, you've been double vetted, because none of us want to put our name on an application that a person may reoffend. If I get any inkling of a person that is still has not rehabilitated, still have a criminal mindset, is still, have what they call reservations of doing criminal activity, it's a no. It's a no-go. I will not take that client.
Absolutely. So, can you walk us through?
So a lot of times, because we've helped so many people, we have a lot of tremendous, success stories, and a lot of people can speak to. And I wanted to introduce Dante Rand as one of our success stories of people who have come through the program. He's a father, he's a husband, he's a family man that was deserving of a second chance. And I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Dante Rand. As she said, I was once convicted of a crime when I was younger, early 2002. I knew that wasn't the person that I was. It wasn't what I want to represent for myself or for my family. And after my conviction, I put in tremendous amount of work of rehabilitating myself and earning my pardon and trying to be an asset to my community. And with a strong support system, and with her help, I was able to get that accomplished.
So can you take us kind of through the process and what you were feeling, and when you first started your journey to get your pardon?
When I first started my journey to get my pardon, I was nervous because, I know how important it was, and I know what it can do for me and my family. So it's nerve-wracking because you don't know if you're going to get it, but all you can do is swing at it and do your best. I was, to be honest with you, I was completely nervous. I was completely nervous because as a man, you want to be an asset to your family and be able to provide and be able to teach and be able to show your children the proper ways of living life and how to live life. But after you make a mistake, you feel like hope is gone. And with this program, it just reiterated all hope was still there.
So did she do all of the things that she said? Did she?
And more.
As far as
and more.
The people coaching part, because we know that she did her. We know that she did her job with the preparation, because you got the partner.
Yes.
But walk us through the people preparation. How was that experience for you?
It was life changing. It was a lot of, just making sure that I was really qualified for this pardon and to make sure I was really a good candidate, because, these people are putting their names on the line for you to be rehabilitated and for you to enter back in society with a clean slate at life with these doors being reopened to you, and she really want to make sure you're the type of person that's ready for that, because some people are not ready for that. So I understand what she wants and what she's looking for. She's looking for people who's really ready to make a life change and really, really deserving of getting this opportunity after a one-time mistake. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody probably had a one-time mistake, but you know, we really want to make sure that you're ready to move forward with your life after making that mistake, and you learned your lesson, and you're here to help society progress.
So I wanted to know if you could speak to the fear that you had of even starting that process, or
Yeah, the fear.
know, in the interim of starting that process, because I know a barrier for a lot of people is the fear of rejection.
Yeah, you know, just the fear of nothing's going to change. Like, you're going to be stuck doing the same thing. You make that mistake mean that you're going to be stuck in this position for the rest of your life. You'll forever be just accepting any kind of employment, any kind of wage, any kind of treatment, because the conviction that the crime that you've been convicted with now has you stuck in a position where you can't progress. You know what I'm saying? So that when you start thinking like, oh, I'm gonna try to get this removed, but if they don't do it, this is how things are going to be, and what's the purpose of even trying if nothing's going to change?
Going down that negative rabbit
hole. Yeah,
hole.
but she helped builds up your confidence to let you know that, you know, keep hope alive. This is going to change. You have a second chance. Your mistake is not going to hinder you your whole way, as long as you've been walking a certain path, and you've been staying clean, and you've been working, and you've been staying out of trouble, and you've been changing your environment and the type of people that you'll surround yourself with. You know what I'm saying? As long as you check all those boxes, yeah,
I'll jump in your fight.
She'll jump in your fight.
So she brought you here for a reason.
Yes, sir.
Because you're an exemplary success story.
Yes,
so,
sir.
After receiving your pardon, what did you do with that pardon?
After I received my pardon, I took off running. After I received my pardon, I didn't look back. I actually pursued a career in corrections. I'm actually in that field now, helping people who was similar to me as a youth, with maybe catching a conviction for the first time and don't know what to do, and don't know what they're up against, and don't know where to go next. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm someone that can give them some advice, some hope, some motivation that their life isn't over yet. They just hit a road bump, and if they walk a straight path and do things the right way, they can rehabilitate themselves, and they can get their rights and their amendments back.
So you started on the other side of the
Yes.
On the other side of the
Yes, I did.
The bars.
Yes, I did.
And now you serve those same people
Same.
that you were formerly incarcerated.
Yes, I do.
That's amazing. How does that make you feel?
It's overwhelming sometimes. Sometimes when I'm at work, you know, sometimes I get choked up because I understand what other people in my profession don't understand. The anxiety, the nervousness, the just the mind games that going through that process does to you when you're in that situation that you just don't know what your future may hold. So I try to give the people who was in a position I was in hope that it's not as bad as it look. Just keep faith, and it's a way that you have to walk moving forward, and it's a way that you have to do things moving forward, but you can get your life back.
Wow, man, that's awesome.
Thank you.
So what's next?
Well, I would like to grow. You know, I want to grow. I haven't done a great job of advertising and getting the stories out. What's next is I would really love to get the stories out. I've been collecting a lot of testimonials and people, and I was like, man, I want the world to hear what I get a chance to hear. I want the world to see what I get a chance to see. I get a chance to see 360 transformations. I get a chance to see people that have come to me that was that was just couldn't, they was almost defeated. You know what I'm saying? Like they only had it in them to try one more time, and they willing to bet on me. So if they willing to bet on me, I'm willing to bet on them. You know, I'm a fighter. You know, and you want somebody like me on your team. You want somebody like me that's gonna help you fight. You know, so I would love to get more stories out. You know, I want to be able to tell the story. I want to be able to change the narrative. That just because someone has made mistakes in their past does not. Let me just say this. I heard driving over here. I heard this guy said past performance is no indicator of future. You know, of let me just say. Hold on. He said past your history is not a indicator of future performance. Meaning that you know maybe I did do some things in the past that I wasn't proud of. Maybe, you know, but that's not who I am. That should not control my economic abilities. That should not control, you know, how I move forward, you know, in the future as far as my career goes, you know. And so especially if I've paid my debt to society, especially if I've shown and proved time and time and time again that I'm capable of doing what I'm, you know, the position I'm applying for. So, so to answer your questions, the goal now is to get the stories out, you know, like I said before, change the narrative. You know, I would love to use these stories to help push policy, help push advocacy, you know, not just Wisconsin, but nationally. You know, we really need to address, and I feel like over the last 10 years, a lot of employers and, you know, agencies have done great in hiring formerly incarcerated people, you know, because of all the noise we've made 15, 16 years ago. A lot of people are giving formerly incarcerated people a chance. A lot more programs are starting to help formerly incarcerated people go to college. I'm in one. Is at Marquette University. I received a full scholarship. That came out the blue, you know.
Wow.
So just being ready, you know, like Johnny Cochran said, the definition of success is where preparation meets opportunity. I've prepared for this opportunity for a long time. Didn't even know what I was preparing for, but I'm ready, you know, to take this to the next step, you know, go national, you know, statewide first, then grow nationally, and establish, you know, pardon advisory, and establish pardon help desks in other states. You know, we've helped people in Texas, we've helped people in Georgia. You know, we're looking at helping somebody with a pardon out of Michigan. But one thing I will say, something historical has happened in the state of Wisconsin, to where we used to be known for mass incarceration. Now we're tilting the scales on mass liberation. If we get a governor that comes in and continues the work of Tony Evers, we can really be tilting the scales, you know, on how people address and formerly incarcerated people, and don't just count them out. Don't just count people out. Yeah, if they made a mistake in the past, but there's a lot of hidden talent, and I get a chance to see it. You know, that's a lot of hidden brilliance. There's a lot of young men that is not in environments that nurtures their brilliance. A lot of women too, girls too.
And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to touch on your advocacy for the women in the pardon.
Yes.
Because I know that's a near and dear to your heart.
It
you
is.
Give me some facts and statistics about, you know, the percentage of women that actually receive pardons.
Right.
And you wanted to help change that.
Absolutely.
So can you speak on that?
Yeah. So with the recent announcement of our governor to not seek re-election, there's no guarantee that board is going to stay open. And if it do, wonderful. But one thing I've noticed is the recipients of these pardons, even expungements, women are like less than 20%. Women of color is less than 10%. So going forward, I would love to do more advocacy and more promotion and advertising and marketing to women, get more women through the process. We were just talking about shortages. We have a nursing shortage. We have a shortage in correctional officers, police officers. A pardon is the only way to get to those industries. It's the only way. So I would love to
think about how many little girls always wanted to be a nurse, a doctor. They wanted to be a fireman. They wanted to be a correctional officer, a police officer. With that record, they make one mistake and now
that's exactly right.
Closed to them forever. But it's like with a stroke of a pen, there's your workforce right there.
That's exactly right, and that can benefit us all. So I always want to mention that women can get women have the same convictions as men. Women have cases, it's the same as men. Women are not supported the same way men are. Women, us as women, we'll galvanize around our men to make sure that they have what they need. Some men have not been as successful. Have not been as successful as getting women through the process. So I would, women have convictions as well. I just lost my train.
Women have convictions as well.
Yeah, so women have convictions, and a lot of times, a lot of women are the heads of the households. So the same idea I had about making.
Just waterfall that real quick.
I don't got the cooties. The same idea as that I had before is making sure the head of the household is supported. We want to make sure women are supported. Women and men contact me for different reasons. A lot of times men go into, like I said, trucking, they want their Second Amendment. Well, women come to me for specific reasons. Women for the most part are nurturers. They're going into the cares field, healthcare, child care, elder care. They want, they want to do group homes. They want to be teachers. We have a shortage in teachers. So how can we make sure that women have what they need, to be more successful as well? We can't leave the women out. As a woman, as a formerly incarcerated woman, I know who was on the front lines of making sure a lot of these policies got passed in the first place. Who was it that was going to Madison for the lobby days, to making sure that we expressed the importance of opening up that pardon advisory board. But when that board opened up, it was men that rushed through. It's men that's getting pardons.
So you said that you wanted to create a program.
Yes.
Specifically for women in the Dane County area.
Yeah.
Can you speak to us a little bit about that, or do you want to save that until you got everything going? But just to put people on notice, that will be coming soon.
Yes. It's called Redeemer. Yeah. So this whole thing, the whole goal of this is redemption. This is all redemption work. I don't do reentry work. I do redemption work. So making sure that women know that, hey, this applies to you too. We can help you as well. Get through this. But yes, I wanna focus. 2026 we will focus more on women and making sure that women, have access to expungement and pardon opportunities as well.
So how can people get in contact with you?
We have a website, cleanslatemke.com. Feel free to go on, check us out. We have an office here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I would love to begin to set up satellite offices in, Dane County, Racine County, Kenosha County, for people, because we have formerly incarcerated people all over the state. Like I said, we was just known as the most incarcerated state there was in all 50 states, if not the world. So there's no shortage of people who have records that are seeking opportunity. And it benefits us all to make sure that anyone that's trying gets help.
Okay, so one last time, hit us with the qualifications.
So in order to qualify to have a pardon in the state of Wisconsin, you have to be off probation for 5 years. You cannot be on the sex offender registry. You cannot have any open cases or any pending cases in Wisconsin or any other states.
And that's it.
That's it.
And that's it. So, you know, I speak to a lot of people, and then they say, "Oh, I can't do this. You know, I don't think I would qualify." Most of you guys do.
Yeah.
You know, just based off of those qualifications right there, most of you guys qualify. So if you are looking for someone to help you in that process, there's 2 tiers to this. So there's a do-it-yourself option and there's a full service option. So the do-it-yourself option is where she can, you know, she walks you through the paperwork, helps you fill it out, and then it gets filed. And then the full service is where she does it all for you, and then you get the people coaching. So so take advantage of those products and services if you're interested in that, or if you have a loved one that's interested in, or somebody that might not be qualified right now, but maybe next year they're qualified. Maybe they hit, you know, their 5 years next year. Maybe you start the paperwork now. Maybe you call and have the conversation now to try to get ready for that person. Or, you know, so it's all about preparation. So like she just said, you know, preparation means opportunity equals success. Here's your opportunity. Now let's start the preparation, and you'll be successful. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys for coming through. A wealth of knowledge. I'm D-Star. Until next time, guys.